Josie, you want to take off the holding screen? Because we don't, yeah, lovely. So everyone who's tuning in, we're so delighted you're here. We're just waiting for some key witnesses before we start what is a very short but special ceremony of admission. So shall we just, are they en route?
Joss is nearly here.
Okay.
I can't hold it, Jane.
Shall we start? I think we'll probably start with Joss when she gets here. And, okay, that would be great. Okay. I'm going to see whether... Which is very exciting. Okay, everyone, welcome. Welcome to those of you who are at home, streaming in for something very special, to be part of an intimate ceremony just before we begin our Shabbat service, where Gosha will be able to, for our synagogue for the first time, light candles. You've got friends here already, I can see. So those of you here in the sanctuary, Annabelle's here, Dean's here, all of you are in the sanctuary, page 593. So this is a really intimate, beautiful ceremony that marks that journey that Gosha has been on. And oh my gosh, what a wonderful journey for us in the synagogue, for me as a rabbi, for all those who you've learnt with. I know I'm speaking on their behalf. And this is a moment where, in a way, it is the last time that we ever really comment or talk about your conversion journey unless you choose to. So we would say on the top of page 593, those of you who are at home and aren't using a siddur, I hope everything will be very clear to you, as in a moment I'm going to invite Gosha up onto the bima, onto our raised platform before the ark, before the Torah scrolls. So as for the strangers who join themselves to the Eternal One, who choose to serve God of Israel in love, who keep Shabbat, who don't profane it, who hold fast to God's covenant, God says, I will bring them to my holy mountain, make them joyful in my house of prayer, for my house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. And now I'm asking Gosha to come up with what looks like a choice of witnesses now. Brucha haba'a b'shem Adonai, berachnu chehem mi beit Adonai. So why don't all of you who are taking part, Max definitely come up. No problem at all. Everyone can calm down. We're all here. We're in good time. Dean's thoroughly enjoying being able to sit in the pew before the service starts. We're all fine. So I'm going to ask you to open the ark. So Max and Joss to open the ark. And in a moment, I'm going to take our most baby Torah scroll out, so that Gosha can hold the Torah scroll without holding the full weight of the Torah scroll. I'm going to ask us to stand, who are here. So I begin by asking, David, come in, little service before. We have lots of simchas to celebrate. Bar mitzvah coming in now for tonight and tomorrow. So I ask Gosha a couple of questions. And Gosha, we hope, will answer in the affirmative before we take out the Torah scroll and her witnesses, and we get to affirm her commitment. So Gosha, do you sincerely affirm the Jewish faith?
Yes.
Do you of your own free will choose to enter the eternal covenant between the God of Israel and the house of Israel?
Yes.
Do you pledge your loyalty to the Jewish faith and the Jewish people in all circumstances?
Yes.
Do you promise to the best of your ability to practice Jewish life in your home and within your community?
Yes.
And then this last question, obviously, how can we fail not to be charmed and smile at it? If you should be blessed with children, do you promise to raise them as Jews and Polish?
Yes, to both.
So, we are going to ask Gosha to read something now in front of this microphone before we bring the Torah scroll out.
Getting a bit emotional.
Yes, of course you're going to be emotional, that's fine. Max will stand next to you.
Yes. I solemnly declare before God that I will strive to carry out faithfully the duties and responsibilities which have now been placed upon me as a Jew. Sorry. I pray for strength so to honor my commitment, that I may bring credit to the Jewish people, blessing to humanity, and glory to God's name. To all those present who represent the house of Israel, I say, your people should be my people, and you God my God.
Oh yeah, we didn't think of that. So we're just pausing
That's a
for
moment of
a...
pregnancy almost.
Yes, no, I mean, really, it is quite unusual to have both coming together. So Gosha just read one line from the book of Ruth, which we will read ourselves in 2 weeks' time for Shavuot, and to think about all Ruths, past and present, who commit themselves to the Jewish community. So we are going to now take out the scroll from the ark. So Marcus, you want to, actually, why don't you take out the scroll? The baby one seems appropriate for Gosha. Can you manage that one? Yeah? Lean it against you, like that. Yeah? So Joss and Marcus are going to go by that microphone because you are going to have something to say, which is at the bottom of page 594. Yeah, you can say it in English and I'll say it with you in Hebrew. So Gosha holding the Torah scroll, and we hope this will not be her last time of holding the Torah scroll, and in just a few weeks' time you're going to be holding your baby, please God, and we will be celebrating welcoming the baby, much similar way that we hold a Torah scroll paraded round the congregation. But for now, Gosha is going to say the words, the closest words we have to a watchword of faith in Judaism.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Hear, O Israel.
Hear, O Israel, the Eternal One is our God, the Eternal God is one. You shall love the Eternal One, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might.
And I am now going to ask the two witnesses who happen to be related to you too. So I'm after Joss and Marcus say those words, the we welcome, and then at the bottom, the Hebrew and the English at the bottom of page 594. I think it would be really nice, Annabelle, as a member of the congregation and class that Gosha was in, to just repeat those words also on behalf of the congregation. So off you go, Marcus and Joss.
We welcome you to our community, saying, Achotenu at.
You are our sister.
Behold, a good doctrine has been given you.
Do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold fast, and all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace.
Beautiful. And Annabelle, do you want to just say those last words on page 594 again?
You are our sister, Achotenu at.
Beautiful. So you've been welcomed into the congregation, into your family, of which I can't imagine you could have been welcomed any more than you already are. But now I really get to bless Gosha, to mark this moment, to share with you the certificate that she received and will receive the full one, but everything post-COVID takes about 20,000 times longer, as it has to go around all three rabbis that passed and welcomed Gosha to be able to sign. Above our art are the words, it is a tree of life to those who hold on to it. being symbolic of Judaism, of Torah, of learning, of congregation, of ritual, of all that you are committing to. So yesterday, on Thursday, the 12th day of the month of May, in the year 2022, here in London, there appeared before us, Gosha came before these three rabbis and told us of her wish to join the Jewish community. They made inquiries about her, questioned her, found her worthy to be accepted, and they really questioned her. They really talked to you and loved talking to you and told me afterwards how impressed they were by your essays, by the way you spoke about your Polish and now Jewish identities combined. And they found her to be accepted as a true proselyte amongst us, both by virtue of her sincerity and by virtue of her knowledge and her way of life. And those three rabbis that passed you into the Bet Din, Rabbi Margaret Jacobi, Rabbi Janet Darley, and Rabbi Nathan Godliman, will sign your certificate that you will have. But on the back is this, the admission ceremony. So let me just share these words with you, that today, on Shabbat, on Friday, the 13th of the month of May, here in our congregation of Finchley Progressive Synagogue, Gosha came, and Gosha's, I'll tell you in a moment, Gosha's Hebrew name, and said to us, "Your people will be my people, your God, my God." And she stands before the ark, and she acknowledges, you can stand right next to her and put your arms around her, and acknowledges the sovereignty of one God, and accepts her responsibility as a Jew, and in a moment as a Jewish mother as well. And therefore, you, the undersigned, so Marcus and Joss, will sign this certificate as a witness, and I think we'll take your signatures now, even though you'll have to do it again, but just to make it binding. And we say to you that your Hebrew name in Israel will be Malka bat Avraham Vasara. So right after Alex's mother, and just that sense of tradition and of continuity and of honouring all that has gone before, and to find your own particular way of being connected to the Judaism of this family. May you be blessed by God, under whose wings you have come to take refuge, and may you be a blessing. So I say a blessing just as Dean is just going to hop up here for a final moment for us. So we say to you, Gosha, and to Max really, on the cusp of this and everything that is going to happen for you. I sent Gosha a card last week saying nearly there, which was nearly there for this and nearly there for this, right? So, Misha Berach, Avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak ve'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel ve'Leah, Hu yavarech et achotenu, Malka bat Avraham v'Sara. Lehistapfecha, b'nachalat Yisrael, v'limnucha al garei hatzedek b'toch am Elohei Avraham v'Sara, yehi ratzon sheyatzliach b'chol ma'aseha v'nomar. Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob, Rachel and Leah, bless Gosha, whose Hebrew name will be Malka, who has cast her lot in with the Jewish people. May she be a ger tzedek among the people of the God of Abraham and Sarah. May she continue to prosper in all her worthy endeavors. May Max and her encounter this next adventure with all the strength and the love and the joy that you deserve. And may the work of your hands be blessed always. And let us all say, Amen. And as we do, for the first moment always, we offer the Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh.
Marcus, shut the ark, and then of course you can do all the hugging and kissing that you need to do. And we say a huge mazal tov to you at home in Poland, so proud of your Gosha, and also to all the family here. We then get to have a few moments of just pause before Gosha gets to light the candles for the congregation. Mazal tov to you.
Mazal tov.
So I do want you to witness, but I want you to witness just because this is not what we'll have, but just so that we can then, when the certificate comes, do it again, but just Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom to those of us here in the sanctuary. Shabbat Shalom to those at home. We begin our service. If you haven't already got a Siddur and you're here, you can go to the back to get. And if you're at home, I know that Josie's popping into the chat the Siddur link so that you can follow. We begin, as always, with an allowance for us to pause, to take stock of this week, whatever has happened, to be able to go into Shalom Aleichem together on page 76 before we light the candles.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Amlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moakim Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Amlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nile Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Amlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeichem L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Amlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom. Let's light candles. So tonight we have a plethora, riches of smichot, of families celebrating. But tonight Gosha will light candles for us, and then Toby with his family will help with the Kiddush to start off the Bar Mitzvah Shabbat weekend. So we're on page 75. Those of you at home, this is your moment to move towards your candles. Get ready to light. Let's stand, all of us. We're on page 75. Maybe Max and Gosha together. Yeah, Max too. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. So let's go straight, having welcomed each other, welcoming Shabbat. Let's go to Yedit Nefesh, page 78. Please feel free to sit.
Yedid Nefesh of Harakaman, of Harakaman. Meshok Avdecha, Eretz Onecha, Eretz Onecha. Yedid Nefesh of Harakaman, of Harakaman. Meshok Avdecha, Eretz Onecha, Eretz Onecha. Yarutz Avdecha, Kemo Ayar, Yishtakaver, El Muladarecha. Yedid Nefesh of Harakaman, of Harakaman. Meshok Avdecha, Eretz Onecha, Eretz Onecha.
L'chadodi. Let's turn to page 91. And if you're able, stand for the last verse as we truly get ready for prayer.
L'chadodi likrat hala, v'nei Shabbat l'Kabbalat. 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 Shalom v'zakor v'dibur echad, b'shvianu el hamiukat, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, v'shemo tiferet v'litilah. L'chadodi likrat hala, v'nei Shabbat l'Kabbalat. L'chadodi likrat hala, v'nei Shabbat l'Kabbalat. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, yimeko habracha, v'rosh mikelen nesuka, tov ma'aseh b'machshavat tefila. L'chadodi likrat hala, v'nei Shabbat l'Kabbalat. L'chadodi likrat hala, v'nei Shabbat l'Kabbalat. Toreri, toreri, Ivaorenu miori, uri, uri, shidaberi, kavod Adonai alai yikra. L'chadodi likrat hala, v'nei Shabbat l'Kabbalat. L'chadodi likrat hala, v'nei Shabbat l'Kabbalat. Boi b'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzolat, u'kemunei am shegulat, boi tala, boi tala. L'chadodi likrat hala, v'nei Shabbat l'Kabbalat. L'chadodi likrat hala, v'nei Shabbat l'Kabbalat.
Baruch Hu.
Baruch et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
Let's sit down. The two blessings before the Shema, the first that blesses light and darkness, the passing of seasons, the natural world, and the second, the blessing of love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poter sha'arim, u'bitvuna meshaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'masadeh et hakochavim b'mishmoretehem b'rekia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golelo mipnei choshech v'hoshech mipnei or, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, Adonai Eloheinu b'shofteinu, Rumenu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nizmach b'divrei toratecha, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. חיינו בעורף ימינו, להם נגן יומם ולילה, נגן יומם ולילה. באהבתך אל תסור, הננו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed.
We're going to join Toby in Vahafta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשופך ובקומך, וקשרתם על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You freed us from oppressors, delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt, forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly we accepted your rule, and full of joy we sang together.
Mi hamocha Ba'elim Adonai. Mi hamocha Nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot O Sefer. Nora tehilot O Sefer. Adonai Elok Le'olam va'ed. Adonai Elok Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael. Now every Friday night, every Erev Shabbat, we offer the prayer of Hashkivenu, the prayer that pleads that we should be exempt or free from the experience of famine and war and distress. And so we really offer an extra poignancy to it during these days.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu leChaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu leChaim. Ushmot tzedkenu uvoenu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu leChaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu leChaim.
Baruch atah Adonai hapores sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Please stand.
Adonai Safatai Tiftach Ufia Tehillatcha. Adonai Safatai Tiftach Ufia Tehillatcha.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Lama'an Shamo B'Yahava, Melech Ozeh U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים, אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה המתים. קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין לנו אלוה מבלעדיך, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Feel free to sit down.
שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ברית עולם.
Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Middle of page 100. Ratzeh Adonai Eloheinu bi'amcha Yisrael, u'tefilatam bi'ahavat tekabel, u'tehil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Baruch ata Adonai, she'otacha levadacha b'yira na'avod. And together, as we offer our blessing for gratitude and for all that we feel grateful for, modim anachnu lach, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן ישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. טסים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם. טסים לעולם. טסים לעולם.
Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom. Let's take a few moments for silent reflection and prayer, just to allow us to take stock of our week and landing here in Shabbat. As we know, we're counting the days of the Omer. Today is tonight. We go into the 27th day of the Omer, this counting period that allows us to mark our days and perhaps notice how things are changing in our lives. And this week is the attribute that we're encouraged to think about, Netzach, the attribute of God, which is permanence, commitment, integrity. And there's a beautiful midrash that has been linked to this week that I just want to share with you, because I think it's all about how we as adults, and sorry Toby, you're not yet one, but we as adults always have the capacity to change, to grow, to learn. And we really celebrated Gosha doing that tonight, but really all of us in our own small ways have that capacity and opportunity. So this midrash from Avot de Rabbi Natan. Rabbi Akiva, at the age of 40, had learned nothing about Judaism, no Torah, nothing. One day he observed a hollow in a rock that had been formed by flowing water. And he reasoned, if water can penetrate solid rock, the Torah can penetrate my heart. So on seeing that rock, if water can penetrate solid rock, the Torah can penetrate my heart.
Ratzon hirevi ve'elyon livi lefanecha Adonai zuri ve'goali Adonai Turi ratzon irifi ve'egon libi lepanecha Adonai turi ve'goali Adonai turi ve'goali Ose shalom bimroma Ose shalom aleinu Be'al kol Yisrael Be'al kol b'nei Adam Ose shalom bimroma Ose shalom aleinu Be'al kol Yisrael Be'al kol b'nei Adam Yaseh shalom Yaseh shalom Shalom aleinu Be'al kol Yisrael Yaseh shalom Yaseh shalom Shalom aleinu Be'al kol Yisrael Yaseh shalom Yaseh shalom Shalom aleinu Be'al kol Yisrael Yaseh shalom Yaseh shalom Shalom aleinu Be'al kol Yisrael.
So our minhag is that our bar mitzvah on Erev Shabbat also shares their Devar Torah, and Toby has some really interesting illuminations of this, his Shabbat bar mitzvah Torah portion.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Toby, and thank you, friends and family who have arrived today from close or far. I've been a member of this synagogue for several years, and so when the time came for my bar mitzvah, I was ready to start learning at Ivriah, our Hebrew school. You might think I've just stepped onto the bima today, but actually it's taken months of preparation and learning with my bar mitzvah teacher, John. I've been learning the parasha and the haftorah, and I've studied it too, so I'm able to explain a little today. I'm the first person in the generation of this family, the Waynes, to have a bar mitzvah. My cousins, Alexander and Olivia, will I'm sure follow me. I'm definitely the first on my mum's side of the family, and I hope they are excited as well. It's really nice that all my family and friends have arrived and are here to celebrate today. So, this has taken a lot of hard work to get here, and I know it's been really important for my dad, and I'm glad I'm finally here and doing it. My portion is from the book of Leviticus, which is the third book of the Torah. Unluckily for me, it's sometimes considered the most dreadful of all the laws and rules around things that don't worry us now, like sacrificing animals. However, I'm pleased to introduce you to my portion, which is about rest and the Shemitah and Jubilee years, which are the 7th and the 50th years of the farming cycle. The Torah explains that on these years of rest, slaves are released to be free again. The land has a rest from growing things and can't be touched. Additionally, as Leviticus says, the land every 50 years is returned to the owner, even where they have given it in exchange for a debt or their freedom. I find it hard to imagine the land having been returned, especially if it was the 48th or 49th year. I've asked my rabbi if someone who sold or gave the land at the end of the 49th year, would they have it returned on the 50th? She said she'd investigate. She agreed there was a problem of people using this time before the Jubilee to take advantage of the debt cancellation. A few hundred years later, a rabbi known as Hillel devised a remedy called a possible to protect the community so borrowing and lending did not stop. This is how they dealt with it. So despite the fact it's hard to understand these rules of rest and release, I rather like the message that everyone, whether a day of the week or a year in the farming cycle or servant or slave that's allowed to go free, everyone gets to have a rest, even the land. I see that rest is not just a physical thing, it's a mental thing, good for the soul as well, which is healthy as a rest for your body. In fact, the commandment to keep Shabbat, which is the original Shemitah, talks to the soul being refreshed. Shabbat vayinafash, meaning Shabbat, Akio, rest, will give you an extra soul. I don't know what I would do without the weekend, even though my restful weekend also includes piano, cello, Chinese, and also Ivrea, but it's still a rest, right? I like the idea of rest as it gives a different perspective to our working life. Whether you work for a living or are studying, I like that Judaism isn't worried about that. And also, they insist that everyone on the Shemitah year gets rest and release. That includes slaves, servants, etc., even those who are not born Hebrews and those that live in the community. I take from this that we in our modern world must ensure everyone gets rest and is treated well, including those in the poorest areas with the least opportunities, and also those of us who can take rest whenever we fancy. I'm pleased to be reminded in my bar mitzvah portion that rest is important. Yom Kippur is considered to be the most important Shabbat of the year, which is important to me, because my family and I have observed Yom Kippur since I can remember, fasting, not me yet, and going to synagogue and learning about it at school. I like that this portion reminds me of Yom Kippur. I want to tell you about my tzedakah project. In our synagogue, we raise money for a charity of our choosing or spend time volunteering with them for our bar mitzvah. This is so we can remember what we have achieved and learn more than just Hebrew in the synagogue. Our Judaism is about helping other people in our community and world. I've chosen to support my mum's charity that she supports called Cardiomyopathy UK, which helps with a condition that she suffers with. I'm choosing to run 1.5k a day for 30 days, aiming to finish by the 3rd of June, and I'm proud to have this as a connection to my bar mitzvah. You can support my efforts by going to a GoFundMe page at Toby Wayne Bar Mitzvah Charity. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the service.
Shabbat Shalom and Yesha Koach, Toby. And we all look forward to tomorrow. I will give you the book afterwards, just so I keep everything together. Yeah? So we now go to the end of our service, Aleinu, on page 520. May I ask you to stand?
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו ויכד את שמו, ונור עלינו להעמיד מלכותו. ונור עלינו להעמיד מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים הקדוש ברוך שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ ומושב ויקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינה תוזו בתוכי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אמת מלכנו ופסולתו הכתוב בתורתו וידעת היום בהשמותיו אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת
Page 524. We think particularly in our congregation of the death of Philip Lipman, uncle of Josie Kinchin. Zichrono livracha. May his memory be for a blessing. And we think of the yard sites that fall this Shabbat also, of Millie Greenfield, mother of Gordon Greenfield, and Frederick Williamson, grandfather of Dean Staker. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for a blessing. And may we say the words of the Kaddish with those who remember and recall their loved ones. Yitkadal v'yitkadal shamei rabbah, bi'alma tivrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'hayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'hayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mavorach le'olam omer maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, yitra'ah, yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitada, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudusha brichu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbahata v'nechemata, da'amiram b'yama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'hayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol b'nei Adam, v'imru, amen. So let's stay standing, if you're okay to do so, as we offer the blessing, the priestly blessing that we offer on a Friday night to each other, to our children, and use the melody, sing with the melody that Dean created for this blessing for his own son Amon's bar mitzvah Shabbat. So I invite you to follow, and it's always, we never know if I'm going to find the page for this one, but I have tonight. Page 563 if you want to follow and sing the blessing with us before Toby and maybe your cousins come and join me to offer hamotzi at the end of the service.
Yesimcha Elohim K'Ephraim V'Ki Menashe Elohim Kesara Rivka Rachel V'Leah Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom v'yasem lecha shalom.
Toby, you want to come? You want to bring your cousins to be able to do hamotzi? So I think wine is there. You can start moving towards the back or waiting for the wine to come to you, but we'll do it here so those of us at home can offer kiddush with us. Yeah?
I have to speak.
No, you don't have to speak at all. You can just take the challah cover off when we get there. So wine coming round, turn round, help our welcomers give you wine.
Good. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzav banu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava u'bratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehillah, למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen.
לחיים.
You ready? T. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. There's Kiddush at the back. You can say congratulations to Gosha, to Toby.